Texas A&M made a great hire, bringing in former Samford coach Bucky McMillan to be the Aggies' new head coach.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your experts. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking a little bit about Jordan Shaw, the new corner for the Aggies, who is really turning heads right now. Former Washington player. The baseball team, just when you want to call it quits for these guys, they just find a way to win. But we're going to get things started talking about the exciting hire of Bucky McMillan, the former Samford coach. Now listen, here's the deal. A lot of folks are going to see this hire. I would say right now that it's been mixed feelings. I've seen a lot of happy people and a lot of upset people. I think it was a bit unexpected. Bucky McMillan was not a name until he was really hired that I foresaw being the next head coach for the Aggies. But of course, that is who the athletic department decided to go with. And I think it's a good hire. And this is one, when they hired him, I feel like a lot of times people go, well, what the heck? This is bull crap. This stinks. And then they kind of come around a little bit. As soon as I did some research, I said, I like this hire. I think it's a good hire. And before we get into Bucky as a coach and what he does, and before we get into all of those intangibles, I want to talk about why I like this hire. I think that, would Chris Beard have been great? Would Jans over at Mississippi State have been a good hire? If you could have gotten Ossenberger over from Iowa State, would have been a good hire. Yes, those would have all been great. But right now, you have a coach playing in the national championship game tonight in Todd Golden, who came over from San Francisco. Alabama, Nate Oates comes over from Buffalo. I think what's in right now when it comes to hiring college basketball coaches is some of these young up-and-coming coaches. And Coach Bucky McMillan's I think he's 41 years old, I read. A young guy who I think is going to be a star in this industry. So this year, the Samford Bulldogs record was 22-11 overall, 12-6 in conference play in the Southern Conference. They played in the NIT and lost in the first round to George Mason. Last year, though, and then speaking on KenPom this year, right now in this year's KenPom, I'm on 24. I'm going to go back to 25. On this year's KenPom, Samford is sitting. They were inside the top 100. Where were they? I was looking at Stanford earlier. That's funny. Okay, Samford was 118. The offense was 76, and the defense was 213. So they were 118 overall in KenPom. And, it's very clear that, look, and last year, they were absolutely incredible. The Samford Bulldogs last year had just a great season, picking up, I believe it was 29 total wins. So here is what we got here. So when coach was hired, it says, I couldn't be more excited to wake up to the reality of being named the head basketball coach at Texas A&M. As a guy that grew up around the SEC, I'm motivated by the vision of Texas A&M's leadership to compete at the highest levels of college basketball. As I've done my entire career, I won't rest until we get the Aggies playing at a championship level year in and year out. Trev Alberts says, we're incredibly excited about Bucky coming to Aggie Land to lead our men's basketball program. He's an innovator as a coach and has a smart and analytics-driven approach to the game. Bucky brings a unique combination of qualities to our program, and we're thrilled to begin the next chapter of our chapter of our basketball history under his leadership. And the other quote that what I liked about, they call it Bucky ball, which is his offensive. It's a fast-paced offense. They like to shoot the basketball. They like to get out and find ways to get easy baskets. I watched some film on the offense today, and it was quite impressive. So they averaged 83.3 points per game, which is, let's see, is that inside? It's right outside the top 10, 83.6. So they were 13th overall when it came to points per game. Why does this say 83? Oh, they probably didn't. This doesn't count. Maybe the NIT, whatever. But I mean, just a great offensive team that is going to score a lot of points. So, it's really funny. We've seen Texas A&M basketball be a team so driven by defense during the Buzz Williams era. And now you see a team in a Texas A&M team. Samford shot 29.6 three-pointers per game. So they are a team that wants to shoot the ball a lot. That is what they want to do. Like I said, it's a fast-paced, high-powered offense. And I think that Coach McMillan is going to be able to recruit the type of players that, because once again, his defense has not been great. I mean, once again, this year it wasn't good. I think last year even their offense was inside the top 80, but in KenPom, and their defense was outside the top 200. So, they're a team that defense has been a bit of a struggle. But I'm a believer that Coach McMillan's going to be able to recruit the type of players necessary to have a really good defense. And I think that, sometimes that's part of it. When you get to a new school as a coach coming from, like the Southern Conference, coming from Samford, you are looking for players who fit your system, but can take you to that next level. And I think that he's going to be able to do that. I think he's going to be able to recruit the type of players necessary to take his team to this level where they're going to be good on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I'm going to expect them to be a better offensive team than a defensive team. I mean, I think that's pretty safe to say. But also at the same time, I'm expecting them to be pretty good on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think that with better players in the SEC, there's a world where he has a top 20 offense in KenPom. I think it's very realistic. And so, for example, last year, Texas A&M shot the three ball 22.7 times per game, which was 171st in the nation. Now, Coach Bucky Irving comes in with his team shooting the ball 29.6 times per game from deep. They're going to be letting it fly from beyond the arc a lot under Bucky McMillan. Did I say Bucky Irving? I keep thinking about Bucky Irving. He was on my fantasy team. But I like the hire. He's a young, up-and-coming coach, fiery, ready to come in and work his behind off to get this basketball program to an elite level, which it's been on. I mean, once again, this was a team that was a high seed in the NCAA tournament and competed in the best conference ever this year in the SEC. And so, yeah, I think that I really liked this hire. Of course, when the hire was made, I really wanted to sit down and do some research and figure out who is Bucky McMillan. But now that he's the head basketball coach at Texas A&M, I'm bought into it. I think that he's going now, and recruiting is going to be what he has to prove he can do. If he can go get some great players out of the portal that fit his system well offensively, but can also play some defense, and you get a team next year that your offense is like 16 in KenPom and the defense is 39 or 40, like around there, this team can be really, really good. So I think it's a good fit. I think he's a good fit at Texas A&M. I think he's a good basketball coach, and I think that Coach Bucky McMillan is going to take Texas A&M. I think he can get us to the next level. So hopefully Bucky McMillan is the new Todd Golden, is the new Nate Oates. That would be incredibly ideal, and I think he has that in him, the type of style of basketball his teams play. We're going to talk about the baseball team, ladies and gentlemen. But first, yes, once again, go ahead and leave. I have a feeling that I'm going to post this podcast, and I'm going to see a lot of, I don't like the hire. It's not a splash hire. I like the type of hire that Trev made. I think it's a good hire. So let me know in the YouTube comments how y'all feel about this hire. Baseball team, right when you're ready to give up on them, they say, no, not so fast, and go and win an incredibly impressive series. We'll talk about this, and hey, maybe can this fully turn things around? We'll talk about it coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at TurboTax. This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, and everything with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. So the baseball team goes to Knoxville to take on the number 1 Tennessee Volunteers. And I mean, series starts out, of course, and we're sitting and we're going, oh boy, this is going to be ugly. You go play on Friday and lose 10-7. An ugly, ugly game. I mean, you can't get a single thing going. I mean, the Aggies had although they swung the bat well, they had 0 hits. So, I've always said it's really hard to win a baseball game when you don't get a hit. This is a fact. My Cincinnati Reds just set a record, well, not a record, but for the second time since 1920, they lost 3 straight 1-0 ball games, and it was really frustrating. So offense is on my mind right now. But I mean, just not a good game. And I mean, it was a dominant performance from Doyle for the Volunteers, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, no hits. So the only people on base were the 2 hit by pitches and, the walks. And Prager, not his best showing, 9 hits, 6 runs, 3 earned. So, once again, needs a little bit more help. And then, of course, McCoy in 3 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 1 walk in his 0.1 innings pitched. So not a great day pitching, not a great day hitting. And so I'm sitting here saying to myself after that game, oh boy, can this just get them back home? This is just going to be so rough, right? That's what we're all thinking. And I know that y'all were right there with me on that. But then they show up on Saturday and get the win over the Tennessee Volunteers and rack up 11 hits. You get 3 from Terrence Kill. You get 1 from Jace. You get 2 from Caden Sorrell. You get 3 hits from Bear. You get a hit from Caden Kent. I mean, the offense was absolutely going great. Jace hit a homer. Sorrell hit a homer. Bear hit a homer. I mean, you're hitting the ball out of the ballparks. Sorrell, of course, hit 2. I mean, it was a good offensive day. And then Lampkin comes out and shoves. He comes out, 2 earned runs, 3 runs. We have got to chill with the unearned runs. It's really frustrating. Our defense is putrid. And if we want to get back into this thing, and if we want to make a run at it, the defense needs to find a way to get better. But what I want to do is throw a scenario out there after we get done talking about this. And I think it's going to get some folks fired up, and hopefully myself too. But, the great offensive day, Lampkin's great. Like I said, 7 hits total, 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Then Moss comes in, 3 innings, no runs, 2 hits, really slams the door on the Vols, 4 strikeouts, 7 total Ks. A really good offensive performance. And I also love the fact that the Aggies struck out 14 times and still found a way to put up those 9 runs. And what I like about that is that means that the Aggies were able to get some timely hits. And that's how you win baseball games, is timely hits. And then in the third game, you give it right back to them and run rule the Vols. You get things started with my favorite thing in the entire world, which is punching a team in the mouth early. You get 3 runs in the first inning, a homer from Bear that scores Sorrell and Hensler. So you get that. You get Keel has 2 hits. Jace has 2 hits. Hensler has 3 hits. Sorrell has 3 hits. Caden Sorrell being back and playing well is huge for this team. And I talked about that when he got back. Y'all don't understand like how difficult it is to get back used to live. I mean, those of you that play baseball did, but if you've never played baseball, it's hard to get back into the swing of things when you haven't seen live pitching. It was going to take him a little bit, and it sounds like he's finally found that groove. You get a hit from a Bear, of course, and it was a big one, as we talked about. 2 hits from Caden Kent, 2 hits from Ben Royo. I mean, just a great offensive. You get 16 total hits in another game where you strike out 14 times. I mean, it was a bit boom or bust when it came to getting hits, striking out. But at the end of the day, who cares? You won the game, and that is all that matters. Of course, you get 2 bombs from Hensler, 1 from Sorrell, 1 from Harrison, 1 from Kent, 2 from Royo. I mean, it was a home run. It was a home run derby for the Aggies in this game. So how many is that total? It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 homers. I mean, I'll tell you this. You know how I said it's hard to lose a baseball game when you win a baseball game when you don't get a hit? It's also hard to lose a baseball game when you hit 7 home runs, because that guarantees you 7 runs at least. So that was really cool to see. So yes, of course, the Aggies get 17 total runs in this ball game. Get the win. Clean day, no errors. Patton, a good day. 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs. I mean, at the end of the day, you can give up as many hits as you want, but if you're striking out 7 and you're getting 3 earned runs on a Sunday baseball game, and the SEC should win a lot of games, and then Wilson comes in 2 innings, gives up a couple runs, but once again, it really didn't matter a ton, as we were up big time. And yeah, so I loved the punching in the mouth of Tennessee. That was huge. So, I mean, when you are looking to bounce back, when you are struggling and you are trying and you are doing everything in your power to find a way to get hot, there is no better way to do it than going on the road and beating the number 1 team in college baseball. So, that was really good to see that this team was able to do that. Now you are getting ready to take on a South Carolina baseball team that is currently sitting with a 2-10 conference record. I mean, it is not going well for the Gamecocks early into the year. They lose a series to Oklahoma. They get swept by Arkansas. They get swept by Tennessee. They lose a series against Mississippi State, and now they're getting ready to take on the Aggies. But what I wanted to talk about here for 1 minute before we get on and talk about Jordan Shaw is Florida, a team that ended up going to the College World Series last year, was 13-17 in SEC play. So if you do the math on that, the Aggies currently sit at 3-9. At 3-9, so we need to find a way to, I'd say, pick up 10 more SEC wins, right? Let's pick up 10 more SEC wins. And you've got, so we've played 12, right? So 30 minus 12, we got 18 games left. If you can find a way to go 10-8, just have a winning record, we can make the tournament. We can bounce back from this. And exactly what Florida did. If you just get in, Florida, of course, didn't host a regional, they were playing on the road the whole time and still found a way to make their way to Omaha for the College World Series. So, I mean, my dad calls it in golf. My dad calls this a comebacker. It's when you have a rough day on the course, but then you get on 18 and you just pipe a drive right down the middle. It's a comebacker. It's that feeling, man, I want to do that again. This is a comebacker series for the Aggies. I mean, you went on the road and you lose the first game 10-0 and you still find a way. to win the series. Huge for this baseball team. Great to see. If they go and sweep, this would be a big weekend for a sweep, but you got to win this series. You got to start stacking series victories if you're going to find a way to bounce back and really find a way to get things going here for the rest of the season. So I want to talk a little bit about Jordan Shaw and how good he's been for the Aggies, and we'll do that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on silly things I don't really need, right? Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your entire first year. So one player that is turning heads in spring ball for the Aggies is the Washington transfer, Jordan Shaw. Coach Bateman, the DC, says, I think Jordan's been tremendous. Jordan's been awesome. I mean, he had a lot to say, and as well as Bryce Anderson, who stood out to him. Jordan Shaw right now is the first name that comes to mind. We're hearing a lot of good things about Jordan Shaw, and we'll see more about it, and we'll see it in the spring game and all that. But I'll tell you why I think this is huge for the Aggies. I mean, we've discussed the issues and the concerns that we have with the secondary, right? The secondary is the big concern for this football team right now. But if the secondary is able to be really good or just overperform expectations, that is going to help take this football team to that next level and hopefully get over the hump. And, Jordan Shaw being a player to come in from Washington, and we expect him to help the more of a slot corner guy. And I anticipate that's what he's probably going to be, but he is turning heads. And that's what you need. If you're going to have a position where you bring in some players, there's a lot of question marks. You need players to step up and do well and look good. And that's what Jordan Shaw is doing. So if he's going to be able to take his game to the next level and hopefully take this Texas, because we already got good players back there in Bryce Anderson, in Will the Blanket Lee. You've got some good players in the secondary, but if they can come together and be a unit and play well, it is going to be tremendously good for this football team that is looking for help in that secondary. So that's going to be the number one thing I'm paying attention to at the spring game is, hey, do we have a secondary or not? And we'll find out. And if not, hopefully they'll go and figure out some more players. But I think Shaw being good is huge for the Aggies and for Coach Elko, Coach Bateman, and this entire football team. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. Hey, go ahead and leave a comment. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on a podcast platform, head on over to YouTube and leave a comment. What do y'all think about Bucky McMillan? Was it a good hire? Are we excited about it? Was it good to bring him in, a kind of up-and-coming coach that we anticipate is going to take that next step to being a dominant college basketball coach? So let me know that in the YouTube comments. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Helps the show out a ton. Or leave a 5-star review over if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the national championship basketball game tonight. Hopefully, Bucky McMillan and his Aggies will be playing it next year. And we'll see you next time right here on the Locked On Aggies podcast.